What's up, Sunday fams? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about the Orville Space Vampires.
Space vampires?
Space vampires are back!
Oh my gosh, let's get into it.
Oh, I've been waiting for this episode for a while. I was very excited
Yes.
to see the space vampires again. But, you know, what the internet does, it kind of ruins things for you because, you know, I'm watching this YouTube channel, I'm watching this YouTube channel, and then there was an episode, or there was a video about Janelle Tyler specifically, and I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. Like, you know, when we were watching this episode, I was like, man, she does look familiar. She does look like the Krill from season 1, and you know, it's exploded in my face. It kind of ruined it all for me. But it was a fantastic episode.
Yeah, still a little bit bittersweet. I'm still getting used to the fact that I'm not seeing Alara anymore.
Mm-hmm. That's because she's with Charlie Puth, and Seth is really, really angry about that. I know, he's a jealous type of person. He's jealous and mad at Alara Katana, Halston Sage, and, you know, gotta write her off.
I'm gonna give Seth a little bit more credit than you are. I don't think he's that, you know...
Who knows, maybe.
We got an introduction to a new species called the Sharkatal, who looked a lot like apes to me.
It looked like orcs to me, the orcs of the Orville.
But, you know, we're getting a lot more of this expansion type of vibe.
It's
from
very
the show.
exciting, yeah.
We're getting a lot more worlds, a lot more introduction to the vast universe that the Orville is creating, and this episode in particular was pretty. I like the theme of it, and you know, I said to you while we were watching it that it would be really cool if they actually fell in love, and it was kind of like a Romeo and Juliet story where he actually fell in love with a Krill instead of with who she was, you know, posing as.
Yeah, and he's just because she posed as a human and is eventually a Krill, like his feelings never wavered for her all the way throughout the episode. So I thought that was really cool. The takeaways of being human, of never giving up hope, and discovering that you're not the center of the universe was really, really cool, like thematic throughout the whole episode, and I really, really appreciated it. And you know what? Following the formula of the first season where they first showed The Sound of Music, of course, they showcase Anna and the King in this one, another classic musical in the past, and it's just amazing how...
Was that Anna and the King or The King and I?
The King and I?
I believe
I think it was The King and I. Okay, The King and I, or Anna and the King. I don't know. Anna and the King was with, it was something a little bit more recent, I think.
Maybe.
Whatever. Like The King and I, it's another classical musical, and I'm just starting to really, really appreciate the ability for Seth. Maybe it's all from him, or maybe it's just his team, but to introduce these nuances of the old classic artists like Billy Joel, really classic, you know, cultural
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, cultural relevant things blast from the past, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Taxi Driver, whatever else they were watching as a movie. Just to touch on those things, it's just really cool because, like, what else would you expect 200 years from now to be talking about Billy Joel?
Well, you know, it's a prevalent thing for sci-fi shows and sci-fi movies to do, is to harken back to old classics that we in the present would, you know, relate to. Yeah. And it made me question, like, why don't we see more future references? Like, for example, on the Orville, or any sci-fi show for that matter, why don't they reference, hey, let's go see Star Wars Episode 30 or something like that.
Ooh,
or just
cool.
Just kind of like reference something that would be in the future. But I get why they do that, right? It's because it's the future show, and they call back to the classics so that, like, the people watching in present time have something to relate to. Yeah. But it would be cool for them to reference something that's like
that would be awesome. It's like, hey, who do you got winning in the next turbo basketball or like rocket football or something like that?
Street Fighter, really cool. Street Fighter 90.
Yeah, Street Fighter or UFC. What would the UFC have evolved 200 years?
Oh my gosh! Might have been. But they like to do that a lot. I think they're following a Star Trek type of formula, and you know, they did that in season 1. Obviously, they're continuing on to season 2. In which they introduce species slowly but surely through an introduction to that species. So obviously This episode, we were introduced to the Choctaw. And the next episode, obviously, we saw that there's a whole new world. But just like Star Trek, you know, each episode unfolded where there was like an internal conflict, or there was a conflict with a rival species, where it was like the Romulans versus the Federation. And in this case, it's the Krill versus the Union. Now we're getting to the exploration episode. So definitely Star Trek formula. And that's why a lot of people attribute the Orville to just feeling like Star Trek. It's just a lot of exploration, a lot of internal and external conflict between like rival species, and then just we get those like little Easter eggs episodes where we get new species, more world building and universe building from there.
Yeah, love it.
Great episode.
Awesome episode.
Yep, we got some new species. Now we get to see what's going on with the Choctaw and their rivalry with the Krill.
And do you think Gordon's gonna continue and proceed with his vive for command at some point?
Maybe.
I don't think he has it, man. Like, I think he's just a really good pilot.
We were left hanging on that scene. Do you still want to do this? And he's like,
I mean, I don't know. We eat salads. That makes us tough. We also don't eat too much dairy.
I think he was rather good in the first part of that simulator, but there were some callbacks to his being a helmsman, like a premier helmsman.
The way he rescued Ed.
Yeah, and, he's like, "There's no way for us to land." He's like, "I'm a pilot, dude."
Yeah,
I mean,
I got this, yo.
A lot of these captain-like figures start off being like maverick pilots, right?
Yeah,
that show off their rebellious nature and their quick-wittedness. And I mean, obviously it's about Ed Mercer, right? And Seth MacFarlane. I don't think it's going to become about Gordon anytime soon.
I think this is going to be isolated for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a possibility. He left it open. You know, he didn't answer Kelly in this episode. Do we have a Kelly meter on this episode?
There's not too much of Kelly to have a Kelly meter.
Yeah. What about an Ed meter? Was I think
he was.
He was a bit mopey with Teleya.
He was pretty mopey.
So, none of it was real.
I don't know. There's got to be a little bit more mopiness that, you know. And then at the end he kind of comes around.
Like our reaction at the start of the episode, they're already together, and it was just
I was like, wait, what happened? This is like.
It's like, did we miss like a 0.5 episode somewhere in the week? Even though he figured out that she was a spy, or that she was just like an imposter, he still found a way to be mopey about like. A relationship that, like, you know, he was a budding relationship, and then it turns out she didn't really exist, and it was all like a ruse. Yeah, a ruse.
A mission to.
And he started to be mopey about it. He's like, "Are you sure you didn't have any real feelings?"
Yeah, maybe we will create an Ed meter.
She can kill with a smile, she can wound with her eyes, and she can ruin your...
Yeah, and do you think, it's a start of diplomacy between the Krill and the humans with letting Teleya go?
Alright, so question of the week. Do you think that the Krill and the Union can have a peaceful and diplomatic relationship with each other, or are they going to continue to kill each other?
There's got to be some kind of intercourse first. And
intercourse between Teleya and Ed.
Yeah, interspecies children for anything like that.
Additional question. Do you think that they can get together? Do you think this Romeo and Juliet relationship can have some sort of success?
Maybe.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Watching Sundays. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification for more videos, and we will see you guys next week. The episode was good. We got
Billy Joel, and then introducing
that we would find
I farted in my mouth.
We saw that there's a whole new world, and I was just thinking about Aladdin.
A whole new world.